In this video, we learn how to interpret the sign of the derivative function. And as you can probably guess, I'll be using the three examples that we have on the screen here, in which we can see three curves. But let me draw your attention right away to the fact that these curves are the curves of y equals to f dash of x and not y equals to f of x. Now, in the previous video, we saw how to read a graph of y equals to f of x to state the sign of the derivative function. Remember, if f of x is increasing, then the derivative is positive. If f of x is decreasing, then the derivative is negative. And at any stationary points, for instance at a maximum or minimum point, the derivative is equal to 0. And so that's what we know so far. Here though, our goal is to sketch the shape of y equals to f of x from the graph of y equals to f dash of x. And while we're at it, we'll also use the results we get to state the intervals over which f of x is increasing or decreasing, as well as any value of x at which it has a stationary point. So let's get started. In the first example here, we have our graph y equals to f dash of x shown here. And as we can see, it crosses the x-axis when x equals to 2. And from this information alone, our job is to try and make a sketch of what the curve of y equals to f of x may actually look like. And let me say right away, we're not asking for any precision here. What we're really after is the overall shape that y equals to f of x will have. And to do this, the key thing to focus on isn't the actual shape of y equals to f dash of x. Instead, what we're actually interested in here is the sign of f dash of x. In other words, whether it's positive, negative, or 0. And to do that properly, here's what I recommend you do. To the side of the graph, or underneath it if possible, you're going to create a sign table, something looking like this. And here we can see that the graph of y equals to f dash of x carries on forever in either direction. And so I'll already write negative infinity here and positive infinity here. And perhaps I should have said the top row we have here represents the values of x. And so I'll write an x on the far left-hand side here. The next thing I'll write in my table is any value of x at which y equals to f dash of x crosses the x-axis. And so here we can see quite clearly it crosses the x-axis at 2, so I'll add a 2 right here on that top row. Okay, now that that's set up, in the second row of this sign table, we'll be writing down the sign of the derivative, f dash of x. And here's how that works. Remember, this graph is the graph of y equals to f dash of x. So when it's above the x-axis, that tells us that f dash of x is positive. When it's below the x-axis, it tells us that f dash of x is negative. And last but not least, at points at which it crosses the x-axis, f dash of x is equal to 0. So here, when x equals to 2, f dash of x will equal to 0 since we can see the line crosses the x-axis here at 2. Then, looking at this graph, we can see that to the left of 2, the y-coordinates here are negative. And since y is equal to f dash of x, if the y-coordinates are negative, then f dash of x is negative. So for all x values less than 2, f dash of x is negative. And so I write that here, like so. I put a negative sign here, which tells us that from negative infinity to 2, f dash of x is negative. I carry on. For x values greater than 2, we can see that the line is above the x-axis. So the y-coordinates here are positive. And since y is equal to f dash of x, that tells us that f dash of x is positive for x values greater than 2. And so in my sign table here, I write a plus symbol right there. Alright, now that we know the sign of f dash of x, we're in a position to figure out the type of shape that f of x will have. And what I tend to do first of all though, is add a tall row to my sign table, so something looking like this, which I split in 2 sections. And here it's 2 sections because there are only 2 signs to look at here for f dash of x. And I'll write f of x here. Careful, that's f of x and not f dash of x. So this cell here, for x values between negative infinity and 2, we can see that f dash of x is negative. So the curve of y equals to f of x must be decreasing there, which I show with an arrow pointing downwards. Then for x values greater than 2, f dash of x is positive, which I show with an arrow going upwards, like so. And so thanks to these 2 arrows, I can clearly see that the curve of y equals to f of x must have a minimum point, and in fact I could quickly write that, min, there we go, when x equals to 2. Consequently, if we have to make a quick sketch of y equals to f of x, all we have to do is follow this trend. That is, a curve that decreases, reaches a minimum, and increases. And that's all there is to it. and here I could label it y equals to f of x. And underneath that, I would draw a very generic x-axis like so. There we go. And I would label this minimum point 2 underneath on the x-axis. Finally, using all of these results, we can quickly state any intervals over which f of x is increasing and decreasing. Indeed, working our way from left to right in all of our results here, we can see that over the interval negative infinity to 2, f of x is decreasing. And I suppose I could write these intervals above each of the examples we have. So from negative infinity to 2, f of x is decreasing. It has a stationary point when x equals to 2. And over the interval 2 to positive infinity, it is increasing. And very quickly, before looking at example 2 here, if I quickly go back to the x-axis I drew underneath y equals to f of x here, let me just say, at times I get students who ask me why I drew the x-axis underneath the curve I drew and not somewhere higher up. And the answer to that question is quite simple. It doesn't matter where we draw this x-axis. Indeed, I could make it intersect the curve if I wanted to. I could draw it up here if I needed to. It really doesn't matter. So for convenience's sake, I tend to always draw the x-axis underneath the curve of y equals to f of x in this type of exercise. That being said, let's now do the same thing for example 2. So here again, we're given the graph of y equals to f dash of x, and we can see that it crosses the x-axis at 1 and at 5. And once more, we need to make a sketch of a possible y equals to f of x. Okay, well, following the same steps as I did in example 1, the first thing I'll do here is make a sign table for this graph of y equals to f dash of x. So remember, the first row is for x, and the second row will be for f dash of x. And looking at this curve, it goes on forever to the left and to the right. So I say that x goes from negative infinity to positive infinity here. Next, on this top row, I add any values of x at which this curve crosses the x-axis. And here we have 2, which are 1 and 5. And so I'll add those right here, 1, and another one right here, 5. Okay, that's the top row taken care of. And so I now move on to the second row of this sign table, which remember is for f dash of x. Okay, now the first thing I'll add to the row for f dash of x are its zeros. In other words, I'll show the values of x at which f dash of x equals to 0, which corresponds to the values at which this curve crosses the x-axis. So again, those are 1 and 5. So I'll write a 0 here and another one here. Next, remember, since this is the curve y equals to f dash of x, as soon as it's above the x-axis, the y-coordinates are positive, and therefore f dash of x is positive. So I can see that to the left of 1 and to the right of 5, the y-coordinates are positive here, so I can write a plus here and another one here. Then between x equals to 1 and x equals to 5, the curve goes underneath the x-axis, which tells us that the y-coordinates here are negative, and since the y-coordinates are equal to the derivative of f, that tells us that the derivative is negative between x equals to 1 and 5. So I write a negative sign right here. And as such, that's the sign of f dash of x taken care of. Indeed, we can see that the derivative is positive for x values between negative infinity and 1. It's negative for x values between 1 and 5. And it's positive again for x values greater than 5. Okay, the next thing we add to the table, remember, is a tall column, which is for f of x. Now, underneath the values of x at which the derivative is equal to 0, I draw vertical lines like this to make the columns for this table. There we go. And now that that's done, for this tall cell here, I can see that f dash of x is positive, so f of x must be increasing, so I draw an arrow going upwards. Then for the next tall cell, I can see that f dash of x is negative, so that's between x equals to 1 and 5, and because the derivative is negative, that tells us that f of x must be decreasing, so I draw an arrow pointing downwards. Finally, for the last tall cell we have here, which corresponds to x values greater than 5, we can see that the derivative here is positive, so f of x must be increasing there. There we go. And so from this table alone, we can now see that when x equals to 1, f of x reaches a maximum point. It then decreases and reaches a minimum point when x equals to 5. So in fact, I could label that here. I could say max right there, and I could write min right here. And now that that's done, we can make a quick generic sketch of f of x. So we're looking for a curve which increases, reaches a maximum when x equals to 1, then decreases, reaches a minimum when x equals to 5, and then increases again. And do not worry too much about accuracy here. It really is just to get a rough idea of what the graph is actually doing. So something like this is more than enough. And I'll draw an arrow on either end there. There we go. That would be y equals to f of x. And we can clearly see as we go from left to right that it increases, reaches a maximum, decreases, reaches a minimum, and then increases again. And so just as I did previously, if I draw an x-axis underneath that, like so, I can now say that this maximum point happens when x equals to 1, and that this minimum point occurs when x equals to 5. And we're done. And just as I did for the first example, if I quickly state the intervals over which the curve is increasing or decreasing at the top here, looking at the sketch we made, we can see that from negative infinity to 1, the curve is increasing. It then reaches a stationary point when x equals to 1. It's then decreasing over the interval 1 to 5. It reaches a stationary point which is a minimum when x equals to 5, and then it increases for x values greater than 5. In other words, over the interval 5 to positive infinity. Okay, let's look at the third and final example, where once more we're given the graph of y equals to f dash of x, and we need to make a sketch of what y equals to f of x could look like. Okay, now the method doesn't change here. I again create a sine table for which the top row represents x, and as we can see, the curve seems to go on forever on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side as well. So I say that we're looking at this from negative infinity all the way up to positive infinity. Just as for the previous examples, I make a note of any points at which y equals to f dash of x crosses the x-axis, and we can see that happens when x equals to negative 1, 2, and 4. So I add those values here, so negative 1, 2, and 4. And as such, that's the row for x taken care of. So I move to the second row of my table here, which is for f dash of x. And let me extend that table a bit to get a bit more space. There we go. And in this row, the first thing I write are the zeros of f dash of x. Remember, since this is y equals to f dash of x equals to 0 at any values of x at which this curve crosses the x-axis. So at negative 1, at 2, and at 4. Okay, now for the sign of f dash of x. Well, to the left of negative 1, we can see that the curve is above the x-axis, so the y-coordinates here are positive, which tells us that f dash of x is positive. So I can write a positive sign right here. Then for x values between negative 1 and 2, the curve is underneath the x-axis, so I write a negative sign right here. Carrying on, for x values between 2 and 4, the curve is above the x-axis, so the y-coordinates there are positive, and so f dash of x is positive. And so I write a plus sign right here. And last but not least, for x values greater than 4, the curve is underneath the x-axis, so the y-coordinates there are negative, and so f dash of x is negative. So I write a negative sign here. Okay, so the sign of f dash of x is now taken care of, and so we move on to the third tall row in our table, and that's for f of x. Remember, underneath any x values at which the curve crosses the x-axis, I now draw vertical lines in my table. So that looks something like this. I have one vertical line here, another one here, and another one here. And now I focus on f of x. So for x values between negative infinity and negative 1, the derivative is positive, so f of x must be increasing. Then for x values between negative 1 and 2, the derivative is negative, so f of x must be decreasing. I carry on. For x values between 2 and 4, the derivative is positive, so the curve y equals to f of x must be increasing. And finally, for x values greater than 4, the derivative is negative, so f of x must be decreasing. There we go. And looking at this 0 here, I just want to make it clear that that 0 should technically be on the negative 1, like so, to tell us that the derivative is equal to 0 when x equals to negative 1. That being said, I carry on. Looking at these arrows here, we can see quite clearly that when x equals to negative 1, f of x reaches a maximum point. It then decreases and reaches a minimum point when x equals to 2, then increases again, reaches a maximum point when x equals to 4, and then decreases. So to make a quick sketch of what y equals to f of x may look like, all we have to do is draw a curve which increases, decreases, reaches a minimum, increases again, maximum, and decreases. Indeed, looking at this, it increases, which is what the first arrow tells us, decreases, that's the second arrow, increases again, that's the third arrow, and then decreases. That's the fourth arrow. And in fact, we could even label this, we could say max, min, and max here. There we go, which we could also add in our table. Maximum here, minimum here, maximum here, and there we go. Alright, now I'll add some arrowheads on either side of my curve, like so. And again, that's the graph y equals to f of x. And underneath all of that, I'll quickly add an x-axis. It's a very generic x-axis. And so I can quickly specify the values of x here. So that first maximum value is reached when x equals to -1. The minimum value we have here corresponds to x equals to 2. And the maximum value we have here corresponds to x equals to 4. And we're done. And I suppose for consistency here, I could write minimum, maximum, and minimum here as well, couldn't I? So let me quickly do that. That would be a minimum. That would be a maximum. That would be a minimum. One last thing for example 3, of course, I'll write the intervals over which the curve is increasing or decreasing at the top here. So looking at our quick sketch, or at our table here, we can see that from -infinity to -1, the curve is increasing. It reaches a stationary point, which is a maximum at x equals to -1. F of x is then decreasing over the interval -1 to 2. It reaches a stationary point, which is a minimum when x equals to 2. It then increases over the interval 2 to 4 and reaches a stationary point, which is a maximum when x equals to 4. And finally, f of x is decreasing for x values greater than 4. In other words, over the interval 4 to positive infinity. And there we go. That's how we can interpret the sign of the derivative. So positive, negative, or 0. And more specifically, that's how we can read a graph of the derivative function, y equals to f dash of x, to get a good idea of what the curve y equals to f of x is actually doing. And this definitely takes some practice, but provided you use sine tables the way I've shown you here, I like to think and hope that you'll find that it's much easier than it first seems. All that being said, that's it for this tutorial.